Hey everyone, today we're going to do the first playthrough on the channel, which I'm really looking forward to. I have actually done some recordings in the past which haven't worked out too well, but hopefully this will be the one, so let's see. So what we're going to do today is we're going to play a solo mission of Deep Rock Galactic, and I'm going to show you first of all the setup, how you choose your mission and all of that kind of stuff, and then we'll actually get into the gameplay and how it actually looks in motion. And yeah, so first of all, obviously you're going to need to have your playmat down. I've got the neoprene one, but there is a cardboard one that comes with the deluxe edition and standard edition that you can use. They're exactly the same, makes no difference. Next thing I've done is I've got some card piles out, so we're going to have a quick look at those. So the first deck is the event deck. This is basically a huge pile of cards where at the end of your turn you would take an event card and something weird will happen. For example, this one says place a grunt at exit 2, all creatures activate. So event cards are very important, and you will need to take your big pile of event cards, shuffle them all together, and then place them in their corresponding place on the board. So looking at the top of the board, you can see places here for 4 different decks of cards. So the event cards go there. Next we have the Swarm deck. Now this contains basically all of the different creatures that can come out during a swarm. You can see I've got some new ones in here, like the Stingtail, for example, and the Knorr Shellback. So these should also be shuffled and placed face down underneath the event decks. One thing that I do want to point out, and I won't mention it for the rest of this video, is that with the Deep Rock expansions, the color of the cards on the back is actually different to the first edition. So as you can quite clearly see, this one here is the Rammer, which is a card from the Biome expansion, and this one here is the Slasher, which is one from the base game, and the back color is very obviously different. So that is a shame, and it is something that the Mood Publishing team on Kickstarter have said they will look at how they can address, but it is something just to bear in mind. Next we have the Rock and Stone cards. So these are basically quotes from the game, and then they allow you to do something. So rock solid, deal 1 additional damage when attacking a creature. These can basically be played at any point where the card says it can be played. If it doesn't say when, it basically just means you can do it whenever. Yeah, they're very useful cards. We're going to shuffle those, and then when we actually set up the player, we'll be dealing one out at random. Finally, we have the resupply cards. This basically is just when you call a resupply, you draw a random card and it tells you what you get from the resupply. So primary ammo, secondary ammo, and health. So shuffle these and place them face down. Right, that's our 4 card decks. I've left some space on the top of the board as well, so that we can basically have a discard pile. There are 2 other decks of cards down here as well. This one is the secondary weapon deck of cards. So at the start of the game, we will choose one of these secondary weapons and use that. And then we also have the throwables, the grenades. So we will place those face down and shuffle them, and then we'll take one at random when we start. I've put all of the expansion cards in here as well, so we're going to be seeing hopefully some interesting stuff in this game. So we shuffled our decks of cards and put them down on the board. Next thing is to choose a mission. So we're going to choose a mission from the Biome expansion. I think we're going to go with this one, mission for Isolated Caves. So it's going to be the Glacial Strata, and you can see you start with a Spitball Infector and a Grunt. So I think that's the one we're going to go with. This is a mining expedition, so you can see that the objective is to mine 7 Morkite and collect 3 alien fossils. So with our mission chosen, we need to set up the board. You can see in the book, you have a diagram here which shows what the game should look like. So you've got the predetermined caves, and then you also have the hidden cave segments. Up top is all the materials you're going to need. So we've got the 7 Morkite, we've got 4 Nitra and 2 gold. And then we also, for the pickups, have 2 loot bugs, 2 barley bulbs, 2 red sugars, and 3 alien fossils. Down the bottom you can see which cave segments we need, and also which creatures will start on the board, which is the Spitball Infector and the Grunt. So let's start setting up. Right, first of all, I've got the already known cave segments, so let's place those down. This long one needs to go down here, so that one goes down like that. And we also have the drop pod, which needs to be positioned as well in this corner over here, like that. Next we have this piece, which is going to be up here somewhere. So what I normally do is I look at how many hexes it is from each of the sides to determine where it needs to go. So I saw it was 1 hex from the top and then 3 from the left side. So that's how it's easier to position. And it looks like this piece connects to this piece, like so. So that edge is touching there. All right, next we need our 2 hidden cave segments. So in the base game, you will get 8 hidden cave segments, and we've also got here the Corlock Tyrant Weed cave segment in here. So you turn them upside down, and then you just need to pick one from the pile at random. We need 2 for this one, so we need to pick 2 at random, which is kind of hard to do, so I'm going to have to close my eyes. We're going to go with this one, and we're going to go with this one. All right, so these now need to be positioned on the map in these locations. So one of them goes there, and the other one goes there. Next thing then is the cave exits. So they are denoted by these green things. We've got cave exit 1 and 2. 1 is over here, 2 is over there. 1 down here, and 2 up there. Next I do pits. So there's actually pits already on these tiles, but you can see on the instructions there's actually another pit over here, and that would go on top of your tiles like that. All right, so next thing we're going to do is place some other things down on the map. So you can see the things we need to place down are the minerals. We've got these little like icy pods here. We've got the spitball infector and then some grunts. So all of this needs to be placed where it says on here. Here are the icy bulb things. So 1 goes here, 1 there, 1 here, and then 1 over here. Okay, then our spitball infector is up in the top right, so he starts over here. And then we've got some grunts. 1 there, 1 actually on the pit, and then 1 on the other side of this. Okay, next are the items and the minerals. So there's a way that I like to do this. You get this rock and stone bag with the base game, and this is really good for shuffling stuff. So we have 7 Morkite, 2 gold, and 4 Nitra, and they need to be shuffled and randomly assigned to the positions on the map as dictated by the mission book. So let's put them all in the bag. There we are. So that's all the gems we're going to need. Put them in the bag, shake it up a bit, and then what I'm going to do is take them out one by one and just place them in whatever order. I try to be consistent, so we're going to start closest to the drop pod and go clockwise. Next, we need to dish out the extra items. So we've got loot bugs, barley bulbs, etc. So let's put them in the bag. Right, here's all the items we're going to need. So in the bag they go. Shake them up. So there's a way to tell which way round you're pulling it out. So the soft corners are on the front and the hard corners are on the back. So I can tell that this one's going to come out with the question mark facing up. There we go. So now what we've got to do is put these on the flares. So there's a flare there, 1 down here. And then the last 2 go on the hidden cave segments. So we just place them on top of the cave segments, and then we know when it comes to revealing the cave segment that they need to go on the flare. And that is the board all set up. So now that we have set up the entire game board, now we need to choose who we're going to play as. Here are the player boards. So you have 1 for the gunner, 1 for the scout, the driller, and the engineer. I am going to play as the gunner on this one just because I don't often play as him. So starting with him. Now on the player board, you start with a default primary weapon, but you can choose to bring a different one with you. So I'm going to do that. So we have 2 additional primary weapons the gunner can use. We have the Thunderhead Heavy AC, and we have the Hurricane Guided Rocket System. Now this one came with the Biome expansion. We're going to go with this one. So on your player board, you would slot that in like that. Next thing you need to do to get started is you need to fill up your primary ammo. So you would put 5 in there. Fill up your health, so we'll get the health cubes in just a second. We need to choose a secondary weapon, and we get free secondary ammo as well. Okay, let's look at the secondary weapons. So we know that my primary weapon uses red dye, so ideally my secondary should be something different, so that I've got, just in case they try to, resist my weapons. So green is okay, but it's a bit meh. Blue is generally pretty good, and also yellow is pretty good. I think probably I'm going to go with something blue. Let's go with the jury-rigged boomstick. because I have a range of 5 on my primary weapon. This only has a range of 2, but you get to roll 2 blues and choose which results you want. So I think it'll be really good for getting rid of stuff that comes up in my face. So that's my player board all kitted out. I've got all my ammo and my health. I've got my secondary weapon in here, and I've also put my class specific stuff on here. So we've got the free zip lines and also the shield that the gunner can use. So now we'll just need to draw a random rock and stone card and grenade card. Okay, so we've got our grenades, so we're going to pick the top one, and it is the neurotoxin grenade, one of the new ones. Place the token down, deal 1 damage to all creatures in the area. If any part of the area is damaged by fire, deal 1 fire damage to the rest of the area and remove the token. So not going to be too useful for me, but it'll still do some damage. So we'll put our grenade down here. Then we take our rock and stone card. Hello, Steve. Charm an adjacent grunt or slasher to temporarily become friendly. Immediately move and or attack with it once. Any creature attacked this way suffers 1 damage per damage result, as well as any damage for an exclamation mark result. Nice. So let's get some miniatures out. This is Molly. That's where we're going to be depositing our riches. Molly goes near the cards at the top. Here is a resupply pod, so when we need to call one in, I'll have that ready. This is a Bosco, so because we're playing single player, we will be able to have Bosco come with us. And then here is my gunner as well. So we'll put the gunner on the drop pod down here, and Bosco will spawn here. Last but by no means least, we have the threat tracker, the swarm tracker down here. So you would place the event marker. I have a beer token here for the Kickstarter, but normally you just have a plastic die. So normally you would use one of these, but I'm going to use this because it's cool. And you place it down on the swarm tracker down here at the bottom, depending on what hazard level you want to start on. We have hazard 1, 2, and then 3 to 5 is this one down here. So we're going to start on hazard 3 because we ain't no greenbeards. All right, so it's time to play. I'm not going to cover off every single thing that you can possibly do in this game, but I'm going to play and explain things as I go along. So I start on my position in the drop pod, and I have 3 actions of my own. Because I'm playing with Bosco, he then gets 2 actions, and then we do the event and see what happens. So to begin with, you can move up to 3 spaces with 1 action. So I am going to go 1 space here, see what this is. It's a barley bulb. So I'll go a 2nd space and pick up the barley bulb, which allows me to draw a rock and stone card. Go over here, lights up, flip an unrevealed, pick up token or weapon upgrade token anywhere on the board. You know what? I might use that straight away. Let's flip this one by the spitballer to see if I'm going to need it. It is a loot bug, which means I could in theory completely just bypass that section of the map. We'll hopefully be able to see what this one is, but yeah, that's my rock and stone card used. And I've still got 1 hex of movement left before I have to do anything, but I think I'm going to stay here. Now, because I left the drop pod, it flips over and turns into ground spaces for now. It'll come back when we're done. So conveniently, you can see that the cryo bulb thing here is adjacent to 2 grunts, meaning that if I were to blow it up, I can destroy both of these grunts. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I need to attack the cryo bulb. So looking down at my weapons here, it's a range of 2 for the secondary, and that's the one that's most likely to destroy it. Or I can do this one here, which is a volley, which takes 2 actions, no line of sight, or double rockets, which cost 2 ammo. So I think I will go with the jury-rigged boom shot here. I don't need to blow my load completely, so I'm going to spend 1 action to fire my secondary weapon, which costs 1 secondary ammo. Roll 2 blue die, and you can see we've got a single hit and a double hit, so I get to choose which of these results I'm keeping. It doesn't really matter because the cryo bulb only has 1 health and no resistances, so I'm going to pick either of these, and that's going to detonate the cryo bulb. So the cryo bulb will explode in glorious fashion, and it will both freeze and do 1 damage to everything in its adjacent vicinity, which on this occasion is on these 2 grunts who only have 1 HP, therefore they are removed from the board as well. So I've got 1 action left, so I'm going to move over here. I'm going to go 1, 2. I'm going to see what this is. It's a barley bulb, so I'm going to go 3, and pick that barley bulb up and get another rock and stone. Editor down here with a couple of corrections with how I played this mission moving forward that I thought I'd mention now. I didn't realise that I had made this mistake until after I'd finished playing, so this will teach you to rush into one of the new biomes without reading the instructions in full, I guess. So for starters, what I said was a pit in front of me is actually known as smooth ice. it covers patches of decayed floors, and if I walk into it, I actually slide across it rather than falling into it like a pit. Now, you can actually forego that by putting a zip line down, which, spoiler alert, I am about to do. So I actually am able to get around that issue, but just moving forward, that's what the smooth ice is. Second thing is the platform that I'm currently standing on is actually heavy snow. I did not realise this, but the hard white clusters on the map are heavy snow, and they end your movement action as soon as you stand on them. So both of these things might have changed how I played the mission slightly, but I don't think it had a huge impact. Just so you know, that's how this should have gone. Let's get back to the game. Okay, so my 3 actions are up. Now, before we take an event card, it's Bosco's turn. So Bosco can move same as me. 1, 2, 3. And he has 1 more action, which he's going to use to shoot the grunt. We're just going to use his machine gun, which is a single green die. So we roll that, and you can see, unfortunately, it's blank side up, which means we don't hit the grunt. It is what it is. Okay, and that is the end of my first turn. So now I get to take an event card. Here's the event card. More grunts. Place a grunt at exits 2 and 3, then all creatures activate. Now, you might notice it says exits 2 and 3, and we only have 2 exits. That's because one of the hidden cave segments has a 3rd exit on it. So if that one gets flipped over, you would have to put a grunt there. But because exit 3 doesn't exist in this game, we just need to place a grunt at exit 2 and then activate the creatures. We take this grunt, place him at exit 2. And then it's activation time. So depending on what version of the game you will have different ways of knowing how to activate creatures and all that kind of stuff. I have the 1st edition, which means that I have this massive board here, which tells me the order that you activate creatures and what they do. So you would start with the grunt and go down this way, and then you would flip it over and go down this way. In the 2nd edition, you get these individual cards for each of the creatures instead, which have a number in the corner to indicate at what order they actually activate, but I don't have those just yet. Alternatively, I got this really cool printout from Board Game Geek, and I will link to it in the comments, and this one has everything listed up for both the base game and the expansions. And one thing of note in the 2nd edition is that the goo bomber is indicated as going before the grunt, which is different, but obviously doesn't affect what we're doing here. Okay, so if we have a look at this, the grunt, it says H of 1, which is its health, range of 1, and M, which is movement of 3. It then says a damage is on 1 single black die. If you get an exclamation mark, it does no effect, but it does do damage if on hazard 5. Now, you normally start with the creature that's closest to you, so we're going to start with this grunt here. He's right next to me, which means he doesn't need to move and he can attack me. I probably shouldn't have ended my turn there, but that's where we are. So here is the dice tray. We use 1 black die. He got an exclamation mark, which on hazard 3 does nothing, so thankfully I avoid damage. Then we'll move this grunt up here. Now, he's not actually able to see us. We're not connected in any possible way, so he will not move. Now, next on the list would be the Spitball Infector. He also is not connected to where I am through any means, so he's not going to do anything either. Also, the Spitball Infector can't move because he has no legs. So that's the end of the first turn. We didn't need to move the Swarm Threat tracker down here because it didn't say to do so on the card. And the event card, that's the only time you would normally do that. Now we're on round 2. So I totally forgot that we need to go and get this Morkite over here, and now I need to decide what way I'm going to move around the board. I'm probably going to go through the hidden cave segments, so I'm probably going to head this way and then go through each segment before coming over here. So first things first, really I need to get rid of this grunt. Now I have a few choices. I can choose to shoot it at point blank range, either with my shotgun or with my rocket launcher. Or I can choose to hit it with my pickaxe for style points, just because it would be really funny. So I'm going to do that. The grunt does not resist the pickaxe. This is where resistances show. You can see that Macterraspawn, for example, does resist the pickaxe, but because the grunt doesn't, it means I can just whack him. As long as I roll at least 1 pickaxe symbol, we should take it out. So here we go, and we roll 1 pickaxe, which means we take the grunt out. Awesome, which is a great way to take him out without using any of my ammo. That's 1 action. Okay, next thing, I'm going to put a zip line across the pit just to save me having to walk around it. So that costs me 1 action. And then I'm going to do a move action to finish off. So it costs 1 to get across the pit, no matter how long the zip line is. So we will go 1, 2. We get to see what this question mark is, and it's red sugar, which I would need to mine to get health back, but I don't need health right now. And then I think we're going to finally just land on this to end my turn. So now it's Bosco's turn. he is going to move 1, 2, 3 over here. And then he's going to mine this Morkite. I'll have to get it on the way back. Bosco can't actually pick up the jewels, but he does indeed mine the Morkite. So when busting down a wall, you get these bits of cave segments that we would replace the empty hex with. And we're going to put the Morkite, leave it there on top for now because Bosco can't pick it up. So I will need to swing around and get that on the way back. Right, that's the end of turn 2. Let's take an event. Not again! Place a grunt at exits 1 and 3. All creatures activate, so more grunts. So there is a grunt at exit 1. There is no exit 3. And now we activate all creatures. So the grunt closest to me will take 1 step next to me and will end his turn there. And the rest of the creatures are still out of, they're out of earshot, so they're not going to move. Okay, turn number 3. I'm going to use 1 movement here. And then I'm going to pickaxe to get to this Morkite. You can see I actually hit 2, which means I can choose to whack 2 places with it. So I'm going to use 1 to whack and collect the Morkite, and we'll put that in Molly for safekeeping. And then the second whack, I'm going to bust through the wall next to me as well, because you can only hit stuff that's next to you if you get a double, which means we've actually connected to the hidden cave segment, so we can now reveal it. Flipping this guy over, let's see what we've got on here. So we have a web spitter here. We have Mactera spawn, we have a stalagmite, a weapon upgrade, and then the item. So let's get the board set up. First of all, we take the question mark that was on the back and we put it on the flare. Then we get our Mactera spawn and web spitter and put them on their dedicated hexes. Then we need 1 upgrade and 1 stalagmite. Use our stalagmite there, and I'm picking a random weapon upgrade from over there, and we're going to put that down here. Normally I would put the weapon upgrades in the bag and then shuffle them and put them down, but for this one I just picked them they were already upside down over there. Cool, so that was 2 of my 3 actions. 1 more to go. We're going to move 1 space here, which allows me to see what the upgrade is. It's an extra green die, which is pretty good, and also stun, which is pretty useful. So I'm going to go 2 steps to pick up the weapon upgrade, and then I'm going to take a step backwards. I think that's the sensible play. So here is our weapon upgrade. So we get plus green die and stun to one of my weapons. Coming over here, we can choose to put the upgrade on either the secondary or the primary. We're going to put it on the primary, put it into that slot here. You can have 2 upgrades on either of them, but that will now be added in addition to my normal combat die. Right, so now it is Bosco's turn. He is going to use his movement, 1, 2, 3, to come over here. And then he's going to use his gun to shoot the grunt. Actually, what would be really funny is if he shoots the bulb just to detonate it. I'm not adjacent, so it's not going to do any damage to me. Let's target the bulb, that'll be more amusing. So grunts don't block my line of sight because they are really, really small. So I can shoot the bulb from here. And you can see I rolled 1 bullet, which means I can detonate the bulb. So that blows this up, taking the grunt with him. Cool, Bosco doing the Lord's work. Right, so now it's the end of the turn. We'll take an event card. We have bugs, bugs, bugs. Increase swarm threat by 2, but no further than the next swarm space. So you can see that 2 actually takes us to the swarm space. That's what this symbol here is. So if we move that over by 2, that sadly triggers a swarm. So now we need to take a swarm card. Boom bug. Place 1 exploder at exit 1 and 3 grunts at exit 2. Then activate all creatures. So we take our exploder, we put him at exit 1, and then we have 3 grunts. We'll put them in exit 2. They can't be on exit 2 because exit 2 is busy, so it will be adjacent. And then we activate all creatures. Now we have a lot of grunts over here, but they're not connected to the rest of the board yet, so they won't attack us. So what we've got down this side of the board is 1 exploder, 1 web spitter, and 1 Mactera. Looking at the sheet, we can see that the web spitter would go first. It has a health of 2, a range of 5, and a movement of 3. So range of 5 means it's going to do ranged attacks, and you roll 2 black die on an exclamation mark. It webs me up. So as you can see, I'm already in range of the web spitter, which again was not the smartest move, so he's going to attack. So we've got 2 black die, we roll those, we get 1 bite mark and 1 blank, so the web spitter will do 1 damage. Coming back down to the board, we take 1 health cube off to signify I've taken damage. That's the web spitter's turn. Next would be the exploder. It has health of 1, range of 1, and movement of 3. So basically it needs to be adjacent to something and then it will blow itself up. So it would move 1, 2, 3 towards me, and it will end its turn there. Finally, the Mactera spawn has health of 2, range of 3, and movement of 3. It resists pickaxes and fire, and on an exclamation mark it does a stun. So Mactera will go 1, 2, 3, and end its turn here. It now has both line of sight and range to be able to attack me, but it can't do it on this turn. Finally, the rest of the creatures up here, again, will not move. So now, it's my turn again. We come down to my primary weapon. It says here, I can throw 2 red die, double rockets, 2 ammo cost. And it says, targets do not have to be adjacent, which is also useful. So I can roll 2 red die and hit 2 targets. I think that's what I'm going to do. That will cost me 2 primary ammo. And also don't forget I get an extra green die as well. Plus it stuns if that one hits. So that's pretty useful. So we roll our 2 reds and 1 green. Currently I'm aiming at the web spitter, but I'm hoping that I can get splash damage onto the Mactera. Okay, so we have 2 successful red hits and 1 green hit. So I can choose to apply these to different things. Both the web spitter and the Mactera have 2 HP, so I can choose to eliminate one thing and then stun the other. So I'm going to eliminate the web spitter, so 2 HP, he's down, and then I'm going to do 1 damage to the Mactera and stun it. So here's a green damage die and a stun token. I'm going to put them here next to the Mactera, so that I remember that it's taken 1 bit of damage and also that it's stunned. Basically being stunned just means that it won't activate next time, it'll just not be able to do it. So that is action number 1, pretty good I would say. I do want this Nitra here, but it is right next to an exploder, which is a bit of a dangerous position to be in. So what I'm going to do is use action 2 to move 1 space forward. Now I'm adjacent to the Nitra and the stalagmites. And I'm going to roll my pickaxe. If I get a double, I'll be able to both mine the Nitra and also the stalagmite. Let's see what we can get. So we got a single. I need to decide which one I want. Ideally the Nitra, so I'm going to take that. So we put a square where the Nitra was, and put the Nitra in Molly. Right, now it's Bosco's 2 actions before the event phase. So Bosco is going to move 1, 2, and then he's going to attack this guy over here. The exploder only has 1 HP, and it doesn't resist anything but red die, so if I roll a bullet, we will take him out. There we go. Sorted. So we take out the exploder. Now the exploder has a special rule, which is when it is taken out, it detonates rolling a red die. So there's nothing actually adjacent to him, but for the sake of argument, we roll this red die. It's actually a double hit. So if there was anything that was adjacent to this exploder, which there isn't on this occasion, it would take 2 damage, which would be pretty devastating, but managed to avoid it this time. So now it's time for the event card. They're closing in. Increase swarm threat by 1. If this didn't trigger a swarm, activate all creatures. So we move this over by 1. It doesn't trigger a swarm, so we activate all creatures. So once again, all the stuff up here is not going to activate. The only thing that's down here is the Mactera, and it can't activate because it is stunned. So we're going to take that away, and that's the end of that. So we've only got until the end of the swarm threat tracker to complete the mission, and that means going everywhere, picking up all of the Morkite. So I need to be careful with how I use my resources and not to take too long. I'm going to leave the stalagmite for that reason, and I'm going to go move and grab that over there. Unfortunately, my position is slightly blocked because I've got the Mactera spawn here and the stalagmite there, and then a pit. So I'm probably going to have to take the Mactera out. Let's use the jury-rigged boomstick, take 1 secondary ammo, roll 2 blues, and you can see I get to choose one. I choose the one with the double hit, obviously. So even if it wasn't already damaged, I would have taken it out with a double hit, but he was damaged anyway. The Mactera spawn goes down. So that's action 1. We have 2 left. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, which allows me to flip this over. And you can see we have a loot bug with a pickaxe symbol. So I can pickaxe the loot bug to get some stuff. Because I'm adjacent to both the loot bug and the Nitra, I think I'll use my pickaxe now. So we roll the pickaxe die, and we get a double. Perfect. So that first of all allows me to mine the Nitra, put an empty cave segment there, put the Nitra in Molly, then we get to mine the loot bug. So when you take out a loot bug, by mining it, you get 1 gold, and then you get to roll the material die to see if you get something else. So we've got 1 gold that we'll put in Molly, and then we have the material die here. That is a chunk of gold, and that is a bit of nitra. So we'll roll this and see if we get anything else. And you can see we actually get some nitra. So there's our nitra. Now Molly's looking pretty stacked. We've got 3 bits of nitra in there, 1 gold and 1 morkite. So we can use the nitra to cool down a resupply, which I'll probably need to do at some point because I've used a lot of ammo already. And then gold I could use to overclock my weapon perhaps. That is the end of my turn. Now it's Bosco's turn. He's just going to come towards me. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, time for the event card. We have I hate bugs. Place a grunt at exit 1, all creatures activate. So grunt from exit 1 goes there, and then we activate all creatures, that grunt being the only thing we can activate as everything else is over there. So he will move 1, 2, 3 in my direction, and that's the end of that. Right, so let's move a bit faster now. So we need this morkite, and we need to start digging this way. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and I'm going to roll my pickaxe. You can see we get 1 pickaxe hit, which means I can mine the morkite. And then what I'm probably going to do, which I think will be quite interesting, is I have 1 action left. I'm going to overclock my weapon. So for 1 action and 1 gold, you can overclock your secondary weapon to make it more powerful. So if we come down to the player board, we take out the jury-rigged boomstick, turn it over, and you can see now I get to roll 2 blue die and keep both of the results instead of rolling 2 and choosing 1. Which is a really cool upgrade, and we also get to unlock the 4th and 5th ammo slots, but I need to actually resupply to do that. Right now it's Bosco's turn. He is going to move 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put him there, I think, and then I'm going to have him mine this wall. So we roll the pickaxe, get 1 hit. Bosco digs a hole there, which gets this hidden cave segment open, so let's flip it over, and you can see we have 3 grunts, 2 stalagmites, and 1 upgrade. So we put our item on the flare, the grunt there, there, and there, and a stalagmite there and there, and finally an upgrade there. Not the best idea, but we'll see what happens with the event. Fast critters increase swarm threat by 1, so let's do that. If this didn't trigger a swarm, which it didn't, all creatures move and attack. Frozen and stunned creatures do nothing, remove their condition instead. Yikes. Okay, so we got a lot going on here. So we'll go with this grunt to begin with. He's going to go 1, 2, 3. He can't attack me because he needs to be next to me. This one will go 1, 2, 3. Now this grunt is next to me, which means he can attack me because that's what the card said he could do. So we get our black die, roll that, thankfully. He missed somehow. Last 2 grunts will go 1, 2, 3 in my direction. 1, 2, 3. So now we've got a nice line of grunts here, and the rest of them will do nothing. So actually that could have been a lot worse. Okay, so I've got a little bit of work I need to do here. So I'm going to have to shoot these grunts. I'm going to use my volley. So with the volley, it costs 2 actions, only 1 ammo. And it actually does 1 red die, and it does an explosive effect. If I bring this to the camera, you can see that this here means that it targets everything in an adjacent hex next to where you aim. So I'm going to spend 1 ammo. Don't forget I also get a green die because of my upgrade. So these are my 2 die. So the red die will cause an explosion, and then the green die I can just assign to something near it. I'm going to target this grunt here in the middle. So if I am successful, I'll be able to take out all of those grunts. So we roll both the die. Even better. So the green one missed, so we don't need to worry about that. We actually got a double hit, which means that everything on and adjacent to this hex takes damage. Bosco's actually invincible, so he does not take damage, which means that all 3 of these grunts are taken out in 1 shot. Very nice. It did cost 2 actions, but I think it was probably worth it just for that. I'm going to leave that grunt here to Bosco, and I'm going to move into the hidden cave segment. 1, 2, 3. Finally, Bosco, first things he's going to do is shoot this grunt. So we get his green die, roll that, and he hits, which takes him out. Goodbye, Mr. Grunt. And then he's going to move into the cave with me. 1, 2, 3. Alright, event time. Mission specific event. Follow the event description specific to this mission. Okay, time to get the mission book out. The mission specific event states falling ice. A huge icicle drops from the cave ceiling right over the current player's dwarf. Choose to either stay put and roll 2 creature dice, suffer 1 damage for each bite rolled but ignore exclamation marks, or jump to an empty adjacent space if possible. This is a free action, but you become knocked over. So I can choose to take up to potentially 2 damage, or I can choose to be prone. So because it's just me and Bosco can't help me if I become prone, I think I'm actually going to risk it and choose the damage route. So I roll 2 black die and actually take both hits of damage. That's probably the worst outcome. So on my player board, I need to take these 2 away. I'm now down to 2 HP, which is not ideal. So this is probably going to be a good time to call a resupply. Let's explore this area first, and then we will do that. First things first, I'm going to move 1, 2. And I've still got 1 more movement, but standing here lets me see what we're going on. So we've got a weapon upgrade here, and we actually have red sugar here, which is extremely convenient. I am going to use my pickaxe, I think. So maybe I could forego the resupply. Let's roll the pickaxe. We get a single. I'm going to choose to hit the red sugar, and because I hit the red sugar, that means I can heal up to 3 cubes, which very conveniently is exactly what I need. So I can take my cubes, put them onto there, fully healed. So I have 1 action left, and I'm going to use it to move onto the upgrade over here, and we have +1 yellow dice, which is pretty amazing. I'm going to add it to my secondary. So that thing is going to be a beast. It's also quite convenient because I can then use my flame die to detonate the neurotoxin grenade. So that worked out pretty well. Okay, so now it's time for Bosco's actions. He's between stalagmites, so I think he's going to mine. Got the pickaxe dice here. We roll that. Unfortunately, the first one fails. The second one also fails. Damn it, Bosco. All right, event time. Ouch. Movement on the cave ceiling releases some minerals. A piece of nitra drops on your head. Good thing you have a thick skull. Collect 1 nitra. Okay. Yeah, 1 extra nitra in Molly. Okay, that worked out pretty well. I think where I am now, I'm going to use my pickaxe to break through to the cave segment. I need to decide which way to go. I guess I would put it here. So I'm going to roll the pickaxe die, get a single one, and now I've connected up the cave segments. So you can see now there's a full path all the way from here up to here, which means now this stuff is going to start activating. So for my second action, I'm going to throw my neurotoxin grenade. That has a range of 4, and I have line of sight. I'm going to throw it 1, 2, 3, 4 onto the cave exit. So it's going to land on the cave exit, and the card says, deal 1 damage to all creatures in the area being every adjacent hex. If any part of the area is damaged by fire, deal 1 fire damage to the rest of the area and remove the token, or remove the token at start of your next turn. So it does 1 damage to everything around it, which happens to be all of these grunts. That's a pretty good investment. So 1 action left. I suppose I better start moving into the cave. We're going to start by going right to get the stuff over here, and then we're going to end by going left to get to the Morkite and probably dig our way back to the drop pod. So I move 1, 2, 3... in position to fire at that guy later, and I'll end my turn. Now it's Bosco's turn. He's going to try mining these stalagmites again. So we roll the mineral die, no, the pickaxe die, and he actually gets a double. That makes up for your last turn, doesn't it? So we can take out both of the stalagmites. 2 mineral die, we're going to roll those, and we get 2 bits of nitra. So even more nitra here in Molly. Don't know if you can see very well, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nitra and 2 Morkites. So we've got enough for quite a lot of resupplies. I think we're going to have to call one next turn. Okay, Bosco still has 1 more move, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3 and end his turn there. Right, time for the event. It nearly got me. Choose a ground space adjacent to you. If it's empty, place a stalagmite on it. If it contains a creature, do not place a stalagmite, but deal 1 damage to the creature instead, and then increase the swarm threat by 1. So, because I don't want to block myself, I'm going to put the stalagmite up here in the corner. That way it's not going to block my movement or line of sight or anything. Increase swarm threat by 1. We haven't yet hit a swarm, but we're about to on the next time we get one. Right, it's my turn. I'm going to call a resupply, I think. So we come to Molly, get some nitra. There's 3 nitra, and we call a resupply pod. You can choose to put the resupply wherever you want. I'm going to put it next to me. So that is one action, and now I'm going to use another action to resupply. So let's see what's in the resupply pod. We have 8 primary ammo, 3 secondary ammo, and 1 health cube. Right, so to resupply, I'm going to take all of the primary ammo I can, so let's take 3 of those. And we'll take all of the secondary, so 3 of those. And I don't need to take the health cube, so I'll leave the rest there and come get some later. Okay, so third action, I'm going to use my newfound stuff to shoot at this spitball infector. So a spitball infector has 5 health. It also has a range of 7. It resists the green dye and the red dye, as well as pickaxes and being stunned. You also get a rock and stone card for taking him out. So probably my best bet is going to be using the secondary weapon, because I now get 2 blue dye and 1 yellow. It is going to be technically possible to roll all 3 of these die and get 5 damage. It's very unlikely, but it is possible. Okay, so we got 2, 1, and blank, so we're going to go with 3 damage. So we'll put the damage cubes next to him, and he has 2 HP left. Now it's Bosco's turn. Bosco's going to move through to resupply me and go 1, 2, 3, and then use his final attack to shoot the cryo bulb. So let's see if we can detonate it. We do. So the cryo bulb detonates and does 1 damage to the spitball. So that's 1 damage there, and it also freezes it. So I'll put the freeze token next to the spitball as well. So it's now frozen and only has 1 HP left, so we've done a good job on him. Okay, so now it's time for the event. Stuck. Your boot gets stuck between some hard, jagged rocks. Lose 1 health to yank your foot out, or take your time to carefully release your foot from the rock trap and become stunned. Either way, increase swarm threat by 1. I think I don't want to be stunned because we're about to have a swarm. So I'll take the 1 damage. And now we trigger a swarm. Uh-oh. So here is our swarm card. We have the Warden is here. Place 1 Warden and 1 Web Spitter at exit 1, and place 1 Grunt at all other exits, then activate all creatures. Okay, so the Warden and Web Spitter at exit 1, and then we put a Grunt at exit 1 and a Grunt at exit 2. We can remove the neurotoxin grenade because it's not going to be very useful. Okay, so now we've got to activate everything. So in order of activation, we will do the Grunt. He will move 1 space to be adjacent to me and end his movement. Grunt down here will start walking towards us. 1, 2, 3. Next is the Web Spitter, which will move towards us. 1, 2, 3. And the Spitballer, because it's frozen, we can take that off and not activate it. Finally, the Warden moves towards the closest creature. So it says here on the Warden, it moves towards the nearest creature. So it has a movement of 3, and it will just go 1, 2, 3, and now it's adjacent to the Grunt and the Spitter. All right, let's keep moving. So I'm a little bit surrounded here. I probably should take out the Spitball Infector. So I'm going to use 2 ammo to use the double rockets, which allows me to fire 2 rockets at non-adjacent characters. So I'm going to attack the Grunt and the Spitball Infector. Add in the green one as well. And unfortunately, we got a blank, and then we just get to push them back. That's what that symbol means. So that was pretty crap. So I'm going to push this Grunt back to the cave exit and push the Spitballer back over here. Just a minor correction here, the scare symbol means that you can move creatures up to 2 spaces away, so I could have moved the Grunt 2 spaces away instead of 1. However, you can't move immobile creatures like the Spitball Infectors, so I shouldn't have moved him. It doesn't make too much of a difference to what I'm about to do, but just so you're aware. We also didn't hit with the green, which means I do 0 damage in that exchange, which is pretty rubbish. I also forgot that the Spitball Infector resists both red and green, so it wouldn't have made much difference anyway. Okay, we need to see what this is because it might be one of the fossils we need, so action number 2, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, flip this over, and it is indeed an alien fossil, so I do need to pick it up. I'm going to go here for 1, then 2, and end my turn on the loot bug. Put the alien fossil in Molly. Bosco can't really do damage to the Spitball Infector. It can damage the Grunt, and it is both in range and with line of sight, so he's going to do that. We roll 1 green die, and we miss. But it's okay, he gets 2 turns. Die number 2, missed again. Oh no. Ay. So Bosco once again dropping the ball, so I guess it's time for the event card. Goo from above. Place a Goo Bomber at exit 1, increase swarm threat by 1. There we go, Goo Bomber on exit 1. And increase swarm threat by 1. It's looking a bit dicey. We need to start getting to the end of the objective, I think. So it's my turn again. I'm going to leave the minerals over here, I think, because I just don't want to bother with this side of the map. I do still need to take him out. So I will use my secondary weapon, pay the ammo cost, roll the 2 blues and 1 yellow, and do 2 damage, which takes him out. So we can remove him and his damage cubes from the board and draw a rock and stone card. Look what I found! Look through the throwables deck, give any throwable to another dwarf, then shuffle the deck. Now because we're playing solo with Bosco, when it says another dwarf, I can actually apply that to myself. So I'm going to take myself a throwable. So we've got the Soil Smasher, which is pretty good for removing walls and stalagmites. And I think that's actually what I'm going to take. It might be a bit of an odd pick, but it's going to help us get back a lot quicker. So I think I'm going to take this. Controversial, but we'll see how we get on with that. Right, now it's time to move. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And then for my final action, I need to put a zip line across this crevasse. So a single action to put 2 zipline pieces. 1 here, as long as they're in a straight line, and 1 there. So on my next turn, I'll be able to get across the gap. Bosco is going to shoot this guy. It probably needs to move first. So because I'm blocking his line of sight, he needs to move there, and then he can shoot the grunt. Hopefully he has better luck this time. And he does. So Bosco takes down this grunt over here, and it's time for the event card. Stop spitting! Place 1 web spitter at exit 1, all other creatures activate. So web spitter down here, now it's time for things to activate. So according to the new rules, the goo bomber moves first. It has a movement of 3, range of 3. They're all kind of clumped down here, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3, I guess come down here with the rest. Next will be the grunt, which moves 1, 2, 3, clings onto the cave wall. Web spitter's up next. He will go 1, 2, 3. This is the web spitter that was already there. This one does not activate. And the warden just moves 1 towards the closest creature, which is the goo bomber, so it doesn't need to move. Okay, let's hurry this along. So as I'm next to the resupply, before I move on, I might as well resupply. So I'll take the health and 2 of the primary ammo, put them on here. That's 1 action. Then I'll use a movement action to go 1, 2, see what this is. It's an alien fossil. Complete my movement. 3, pick up the fossil, deposit it in Molly. So I have 1 action left. I'm going to use it to pickaxe, hopefully get a double. So here is my pickaxe, roll that, and we get a single, so we still get to take 1. I'm going to take this one here, put the cave segment there, deposit that in Molly. Now it's Bosco's turn. He's going to move 1, he can't use zip lines, 2, 3, and then he's going to move 1, see what that is, it's fossil, 2 and 3. So hopefully Bosco can help us mine next turn. Right, event time. Cave leech attack. A cave leech attacks you from above. Dwarves within attack range of your space each receive a free reaction attack against it. 1 hit needed. If it survives, roll 2 black die and suffer any damage as usual. If you roll an exclamation mark, become prone. Now, because I'm playing single player with Bosco, he can do a reaction attack against the cave leech because I am in range, 1, 2, 3. So let's roll a green. So we roll the green die, and we get 1 shot, so he saves me from the cave leech. Good job, Bosco. To make things easier for myself, I'm going to move 1, 2, so I am adjacent to 3 bits of morkite. Now I'm going to take my pickaxe. And I rolled a double, so I can take 2 bits in 1 action. So we're going to take this bit and this bit, replace them with these, deposit them in Molly. So there's only 2 bits of morkite left and 1 alien fossil left, and then we can leave the mission. So I have 1 action left. I'm going to leave Bosco to mine that one, so I'm going to use this action to pick up this alien fossil. So that's 1, and then I'm going to move here. Now it's Bosco's turn. He's going to mine the morkite. He actually got a double, which means he can dig us a hole here. And also here. The morkite remains there because he can't pick it up. And then I think I'm just going to move him here. Time for the event card. Mission specific event. So I can choose to take the damage or I can move and become prone. I think we've got plenty of time now, so I'm going to choose to move myself 1 space and become prone. This means on my next turn I have to use 2 of my actions to stand myself back up. So now it's my turn again. Stand myself back up. I have 1 action left. There's kind of multiple things that I want to do on this turn, but I think what I'm going to do is just move my action to go 1, to pick up the morkite, and then 2, 3, so that I'm lined up, ready to leave. Bosco is going to start mining, dig our way out. Double, perfect. So Bosco's going to dig these 2 gaps here, and then he's going to move here. Right, event time. Glowing walls. Place 1 gold in the wall closest to you. If several walls are at an equal distance, choose which one. Increase swarm threat by 1. So a piece of gold, the closest wall is either here or there, so I'm going to put it there. Now it's my turn, and it's time for the Soil Smasher. Remove all walls and stalagmites inside the blast radius. Minerals are left on the ground for easy pickup. So you can see you put the target and it's everything around it that blows up. So if I choose to target this square here, I can basically smash through these walls. So let's do that. We would smash a wall there, and a wall there, which conveniently helps us find a way out. Okay, so that's action number 1. So I think now it's just time to run, really. So I'm going to use 1 movement to go 1, 2, 3 and pick up the final piece of morkite. Put that in Molly. Now we have all of the morkite and all of the fossils. The drop pod will return for us. So we flip this back over. Now all we need to do is exit. So I still have 1 move action left, and I can go 1, 2, 3, and I'm on the drop pod. Bosco doesn't need to escape with me, so that is mission successful. Obviously I could have stuck around and decided to take out some of the bugs over here just for fun, but we're here to complete missions. We're on company time, eh? We don't have time to mess around. But that was a full mission from Deep Rock Galactic, the Biome expansion. It's a fairly simple mission. It was marked as novice on the mission book, so it's definitely one of the easier ones, and we didn't have any modifiers on from the Space Rig expansion, so it was a very easy mission to do. Bosco is a great addition for solo play. You can choose to go in without him, and you can also choose to control multiple dwarfs if you're playing solo, but I like to use Bosco because then it's much more similar to the video game where you get Bosco with you. And that is our game. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this interesting and enjoyable. I've enjoyed doing it, so let me know what you think, and I'll catch you on another video soon.